Marvel Comics' revamped publishing line for the X-Men is officially underway in the From the Ashes story. While it was really fantastic to see so many of our heroes operate out of one singular location during the Krakoan era, I think From the Ashes has produced some great comic book material so far. In fact, yesterday Marvel Comics even announced their first inaugural crossover for the line titled Raid on Greymalkin. My name is Araco Braddock, and today, let's go ahead and explore the four-part crossover taking place across two of our flagship X-Men comics. First off, I want to introduce the adjectiveless X-Men series that sees Cyclops operate out of an abandoned Sentinel factory over in Merle, Alaska. Watching Cyclops have interactions with characters like Magneto and Beast in the wake of the recent X-Force series has been really fantastic to read. And it even seems like Cyclops is on a fascinating collision course over with Rogue, who's operating out of the pages of Uncanny X-Men. The Uncanny X-Men title sees Rogue and characters like Wolverine heading up a brand new team of X-Men over in the pages of Louisiana. Some of the early issues of these comics have teased an interesting status quo shift between Rogue and Cyclops that's set to play out across this Raid on Greymalkin story. And without further ado, I want to show off some of the covers over on Raid on Greymalkin and this really fascinating teaser image that Marvel Comics just went ahead and released. First off, readers can see that this crossover takes place across X-Men issues 8 and 9, as well as Uncanny X-Men 7 and 8. One really interesting aspect about Uncanny X-Men issue 8 is the fact that David Marquez is actually stepping this one out in terms of the interiors, and readers are actually getting some artwork over from the excellent Javier Garron, who recently contributed some great and fantastic work over on Uncanny Avengers with Jerry Dugan. Would definitely encourage you to check that one out if you haven't already. Also, I wanted to introduce some of the villains in the crossover as well, as they feature some really interesting plot elements that are going to come right to the forefront of this crossover. In Uncanny X-Men, readers have gotten the opportunity to see the character of Dr. Corina Ellis take over the Xavier Institute and turn it into this really harrowing Greymalkin location. In fact, Corina isn't working alone. She has her mysterious associate known as Dr. Phillip, as well as the really interesting character of Captain Ezra. Watching some of these characters really debase the Xavier Institute across recent issues of Uncanny X-Men has driven up so much intrigue, and the fact that so much of the article from Marvel references the mysterious inmate X continues to percolate so many of these plot threads right to the surface of the comic book. So here's a look at the cover of X-Men Chapter 8. This is the inaugural issue of the Raid on Greymalkin story, and I want to go ahead and read the solicit for this issue. With one of their own incarcerated, the X-Men move on Greymalkin prison in order to free their teammate. But it's not just one team. In Alaska, Cyclops' X-Men scramble a rescue mission, while in Louisiana, Rogue's X-Men move to strike out on their own sortie. Doctrine rivals each with their own objective, will these two fractious teams find themselves at a cross purpose. After all, an X is made by lines crossing. I love the fact that this cover is finally making good on the plot threads between Rogue and Cyclops that are set to really explode across future issues of Uncanny X-Men and X-Men, as readers can see right from this cover. Also, this is the final issue of the Raid on Greymalkin crossover. It's also the 8th issue of Uncanny X-Men, featuring artwork from Javier Garron. Let's go ahead and check out the solicit and see what we can determine from some of the copy that Marvel Comics generated. The explosive saga ends here, with Rogue and Cyclops on opposite ends of the mutant struggle, perhaps forever. Are they honoring Xavier's legacy or destroying it? Do they choose loyalty or the law? An all-out action issue that will affect both teams with devastating results, featuring guest artist Javier Garron. I've really been watching the plot threads between Rogue and Cyclops break out across so many previous issues. It's incredibly cathartic to finally get this cover and solicit teasing the fact that this tension is going to simmer to a boil. Also, Gail Simone had a really fantastic comment in terms of her experience working on the X-Men comics from that Marvel article. I also want to go ahead and check out what she had to say about the book. Writing in the X world has been one of the most fun and rewarding experiences of my career, Gail Simone said. Best characters, best art team, best editors, and best fellow creators, particularly Jed MacKay, who is an idea machine. We've been throwing ideas back for nearly every day since we started putting together the bones of what the X-verse could be like. And I think it helps tremendously that we like and respect each other's work. It's so interesting to see a relationship developing between creators as a part of the From the Ashes line of X-Men, and I really hope that we get to see comic books like Exceptional X-Men actually tie into the rest of this crossover. I'd also love to see Jed MacKay and Gail Simone match up the plot threads of X-Men and Uncanny X-Men in the near future to build as much connective tissue as possible in the X-Men publishing line. Finally, there's one more quote here from Gail Simone that's incredibly important. I'm going to go ahead and check this one out really quick here. I hope that this is a precursor to more short crossovers. We love the idea of doing something impactful where it feels punchy and fast-paced with some genuine, lasting effects. You can still read just X-Men or Uncanny X-Men and follow the story, but you'll get a bigger, richer picture if you get both. As always, we have the welcome mat out for newbies and longtime readers alike. I want to take a few steps back and just reference the one storyline that this has me thinking about again and again and again, and that would be Schism. Schism saw a rift open up between Wolverine and Cyclops that affected so many of the X-Men comic books, and I'm curious if this Raid on Greymalkin story is also going to expand that animosity any farther. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming to check out our video preview of the Raid on Greymalkin story kicking off this December over from Marvel Comics. Please keep an eye out for future comic book material over on the channel and some of our future live streams. Thank you so much for checking out our video comic book content, and we'll be back in the near future to see whatever is next over for our X-Men heroes. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.